All right. Hello again, adventures, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me are the people that are all super cool, and they keep showing up to my games, which is fun. So, announcements. Always have to mention this stuff right now on Humble Bundle. If you're interested in the Essence 20 system in general, or specifically G.I. Joe, they currently have a bundle for $18. You can get basically the entirety of the G.I. Joe RPG, including the crossover book that basically shows you how you can use G.I. Joe stuff in Power Rangers and Transformers. Yeah, $18 for all the digital files. You don't get anything physical for that, but it's a steal. The core book alone normally runs $55. So it's awesome. I likes it. I'm a huge Essence 20 fan in general. If you're watching this on YouTube, I have many Essence 20 videos on my YouTube channel. It's super, super fun. I liked it. Also, as of the streaming date of this, there's still like a day or two left on the Mutants and Masterminds 3rd edition bundle. So that in and of itself is cool. I picked it up. Superhero themed TTRPG. Very cool. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, bundle is already over. But if you're watching this live on Twitch, you can still go pick it up for like a day or two. Other stuff happening in the TTRPG world right now. The DMG's officially been released. It was in early access for a couple weeks. This Tuesday, it finally came out. I am slowly making my way through it. Going to do an in-depth review. But overall, I think it's better than the PHB. And we discussed it a little bit before we went live. There's a lot of really good stuff in there for new DMs. There's a bunch of stuff in there for established DMs. And there's a shit ton of magic items because that's what the DMG always has. So, cool stuff. I definitely, if you are considering DMing ever, I think it's a good investment. Even if you just pick up the digital version, I think it's a great investment because it does give you a lot of information, not just about how dungeon mastering works in general, but different kinds of players and how to motivate them and how to create adventures and stuff depending on what your players actually enjoy and how to have fun even if that's not your favorite kind of style of play. So lots of good stuff in there. Makes me excited about the monster manual, to be honest. Like after the PHB, I was feeling pretty bad about D&D 5.5, and the DMG has kind of rekindled that for me. So, cool stuff. Anything else going on in the TTRPG world that anyone knows of?
I think there's a day left on the Mycologist's primer.
Oh, yeah! Who's doing that again? Who's the company that's doing
Proficiency.
it? Double Proficiency. Did they also do the Herbalist and...
Yeah.
No, okay. So Renegade, I'm assuming, partnered with them and published these two books, the Herbalist Primer and the Geologist Primer, which are basically books that talk about real-world plants or minerals and how they have been used in mythology and fantasy games and stuff like that. So if you ever wanted, like one of my players for my Zelda game, decided that they wanted to start having their character become more of like an alchemist style character. So a book like that, I can go, oh, well, we can actually find this particular weed, which mythologically does this and this and this if you wanted to create that kind of potion. Or because it's The Legend of Zelda, I can just look at all the cooking recipes because there are many. But it's a phenomenally awesome tool. And so the Myconius, or Mycona, the word that...
Mycologist.
There we go. That Imp said. That's mushrooms.
Mushroom folklore, magic, and occult fantastical fungi game master tools.
So, massively... I don't understand how this hasn't been a thing before, because this is just an insanely useful thing for GMs in general to have. So yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that I've already backed some other stuff and I'm very low on money, I would probably back that. The thing that I did back, there's currently, I think it's on like its last day, or last few days. There's a Kickstarter, I think it is, for a D&D for Educators book, where the book is specifically designed to help teachers in general use Dungeons and Dragons to actually teach things, whether it's math, social skills, whatever. It's geared towards using D&D as an educational tool as opposed to just as a game.
A friend of ours also discovered that Wizard of the Coast does also offer a school program support for people.
Yep. But I'm interested to see, because apparently my buddy Chax, who plays in my Zelda RPG, she's backing it, and I backed it as well. But she looked into it, and it's a lot of the people that are helping design it are mostly math teachers, apparently. So it does have a very kind of math focus. But I'm interested, like anytime we deal with education in general, again, the trainer part of Trainer Jody has nothing to do with Pokemon. I was a professional trainer. That's what I did. That's what I got paid for, and I was very, very good at it. And still, despite the fact that I can't work anymore, that's still what I do. Like, the reason my daily December campaign is what it is I like teaching people new systems. I like teaching myself new systems. And so anytime I'm going to see something that involves people with experience in education trying to use tabletop RPGs for education or education related to TTRPGs, I'm going to be all for it. So interested to see how that turns out. And there's also just as much a chance that is going to be an abject failure, because I have quite a few friends that went into education, and as much as the American public education system has been shit for a few decades, our higher education system is not doing too much better right now, and there are a lot of teachers that are really shit teachers. So these could be really, really skilled, really amazing teachers making an amazing book, or they could be using, talk about things like learning styles, which has been disproven, or what could be really fun, maybe they'll bring in the MBTI stuff, which is complete horoscopal nonsense, and has been disproven. It was disproven when it was created back in the 80s. Who knows? But I'm interested to see where it goes. And hopefully it's going to be a really good resource for people that want to do more with tabletop RPGs in general than just have fun, which isn't a bad thing. Having fun is very, very important. But using it as a tool to teach and educate can be groundbreaking, can be amazing. And they've done studies. They've showed kids that play D&D score higher on empathy when you measure empathy and things like that. Like the things that make you a good human being, D&D teaches you naturally. So
why has nobody made a Magic School Bus tabletop RPG?
Maybe that's what'll come next. With the frizz? No way! Cruising on down Main Street, you're relaxing, feeling good. God. Even the I don't know. I think the school bus would have a better chance of being the GM than the Frizz. I think the Frizz would just be an NPC. Because the school bus magically makes things change. Like, they have control over existence. I heard even the try this again. I heard even the reboot was really good. Because that went on for like 2 or 3 seasons. God, Magic School Bus was amazing. Captain Planet should have been amazing. And it was fun to watch. It just wasn't quite that great at educating people. But it's fun to watch. God, 90s TV. Man. Does anyone remember Kratz Creatures? That was my favorite show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Love that. They're still doing stuff. The Krat brothers still doing stuff.
Woo.
Yeah, they had Zaboomafoo, and then they had Wild Kratts, which is an animated show, and now I think they have like a podcast or a YouTube series, something. But they're still doing stuff like 30 years later. They have gray hair now, but they're still the Krat brothers. Ah, the 90s. Anyone else remember like Eyewitness? Or was that what it was called? There's like movies you'd watch in school that would always start with this boom ba doo doo doom, boom ba doo doo doom, as you're traveling through like a white museum and like things are jumping around and animals are going everywhere. Yeah, the 90s was a weird time, guys. Anyway, one other announcement. We have. I have to look now. Next week, Traversing the Veil. The week after that will be this, and then it's December, and I will be running my Metroid TTRPG, which by pure happenstance will actually have a buddy here and a buddy of mine named Elias. So the month of December, I will not be running games on Wednesday nights because both Christmas and New Year's are on Wednesday. We will be shifting to Monday nights for the month of December. And it should be cool. We're using the Lancer TTRPG system. I'm currently designing assets and stuff like that, so it's going to look really cool. And yeah, should be a lot of fun. So anyway, I think it's enough. I think it's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has triumphed. After discovering the correct orb and Relwyn obtaining it as opposed to giving Argenta yet another orb, the party decided to leave the residence. And as they were trying to decide where to go next, they were suddenly overtaken by the ruling siblings of the city. Shocked out of their argument by a fireball exploding right in front of them, the party decided to engage Elizabeth and Vincent. But unfortunately, they proved to be significantly more powerful than anyone was expecting. After banishing one of the party to an endless maze, trapping another in a force cage, and then peppering the final remaining member with firebolts in an ironic fashion, Argenta was able to trap Vincent in a demiplane of shadow to have a one-on-one fight with him, but unfortunately Vincent turned out to be significantly more powerful than Argenta was expecting. As the party was nearing an unfortunate end, Relwyn summoned from the ether around them a celestial being and convinced Elizabeth and Vincent that he was sent by the Dark Lord. Not realizing this new celestial avatar was not on their side, they dropped their guard long enough for the celestial avatar to attack Elizabeth. It scared her enough that she retreated into the carriage, and Vincent took the carriage and they retreated back towards their mansion. And that is where we return. So, as a reminder for me, when we left last time, Relwyn, you were sending your angel thing to follow them, right?
To just harass them.
Just harass them,
Because they only last as long as, so they would have, if whatever it could have done, if it could have attacked him, or if it could have attacked the carriage.
Yeah. You got because you would know when this, because it's a concentration spell, you would know when the spell would end. And you think that you got a good, like, 5 or 6 rounds, so about 30 seconds of it, because it lasts for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a good 30 seconds of this angel harassing them before you felt the spell end. Because they moved away.
Did it end prematurely, or did it
It
last
did end prematurely.
Okay.
They were far enough away that you have no idea what the angel did in that 30 seconds, but you know that it lasted, like I said, about 5 or 6 rounds of it doing something, and it seemed to be able to keep pace with the carriage relatively well. So, whatever it did, it was close enough to do a lot. For the rest of you guys, I think most of you guys are kind of bleeding and hurt at this particular moment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And one of us is in a magic box.
Yeah.
Yep.
What
is a box?
What's in the box?
Is the box transparent? Can we see Lillian?
It's slightly opaque. Oh wait, no, I think it's invisible. Wait, let's see. An immovable, invisible, cube-shaped prison. Yeah. Unfortunately, it does last for an hour.
Not treasure for an hour.
I'll say. Yeah. I'll say before Rowan's spell, before he loses concentration on its spell, from it ending early, the force gauge disappears.
You see me this might be oh. Yeah.
Vala is going to spend 10 minutes and cast Prayer of Healing.
Okay. I will say the eyes in the sky are still above you guys.
Oh,
so if you want to do that, though you do notice... Why doesn't everybody roll me perception checks real quick?
Well, I think you said earlier they weren't harassing us.
They weren't while you were... During the fight, they weren't. But now that the fight is over, why don't you guys roll me perception checks?
20.
Okay. Anyone else?
31.
Saying I have advantage. 13 and 16. 16, so dirty 20.
Okay.
Dirty 20.
Wow, 3 20s and a 31. This is going to go well for me.
Well, I passed a 24.
So, all of you notice, and probably Vala, you would be the first one to notice because you were the first one to kind of figure out the pattern. The eyes in the sky are still there. They're still moving, but something is very, very different about them. And everyone else, you guys just notice something seems weird, but Vala, you realize the pattern has changed. And it's not so much that it's using a different pattern. It's using a significantly less complex pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as if before someone, you know, it's kind of like somebody programmed them before for a very intricate one, and now that programming has been lost and they're just on the default, the really simple, basic default, to the point where with a 31, you can kind of see there are holes in the search pattern that they're using now, where probably about every 100 to 150 feet, there will be like anywhere between like a 5-foot radius to 15-foot radius area that the eyes will just never check.
I will
Go
point
ahead.
that out to everybody, and the pattern they're using seems a lot less complex than what it was before. There are obvious gaps in coverage.
When she's probably controlling them, Argenta says as
Yeah.
she gets up and she's kind of checking this area where it's like she got ran through by his blade, but it's healed over a bit now.
I don't know if we can try to hop into one of those spots. I can heal us up a little bit. Um,
I don't know what sword style they teach in the what was the place called before with the humans and the guns?
Valakovia.
Yes. I don't know what kind of sword style they teach in Valakovia, but it's reminiscent of a rhino.
I'm
I
not
have to make a
familiar with
note
that
of
type of
that.
sword.
Now we did see because it's like he did have he did have those swords out before he went into the Shadow Realm with Argenta.
Yeah, and they went with him. The swords
Yeah.
went with him.
So I'm saying we know he's capable of that.
Yeah, you guys saw him casting spells, and because it was a 5th level spell, I think I don't know if animate. Well, Vala, with you having bard levels, you guys would have recognized an animate object spell, which again is not the most complicated spell possible, but it's still something like your average spellcaster would struggle to cast, and he did it effortlessly, with almost no forethought, and still had significant martial training. So the fact that he combined both spells and martial abilities says something about his skill level. So, what do you all want to do? If you want to find one of the kind of dead areas, it'll take you a minute or two to get to one from where you are right now.
Yeah, finding one so that we can use spells would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will guide the party to the nearest one, and then start praying.
Okay. So as you start casting the spell, you do realize what's the radius of prayer of healing?
It is 30 feet.
30 feet, yeah. So you do realize that while casting this spell in the dead zone will make you safer, the fact that the area that it affects will not be in the dead zone, with a 31, you realize that while it's not an instant they're going to find you, there is a significantly higher chance that something will pick up the magic and come to investigate, if that makes sense.
Yes. How? That sucks. How hurt is Lillian and our Relwyn?
Out of all of us, Argenta's hurt the most, and I think then you.
On a scale of 0 to 199, I'm a solid 14.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm halfway over half.
If you guys want to take an
Oh.
hour, you can take a short rest and burn some healing dice.
Well, here's I have 2 4th level spell slots left, 2 third, and 4 1st level spell slots. I could burn both of my 4th level to do theoretically the same amount of healing as prayer of healing for 2 people. I've almost used up all of my healing dice. My healing light. I want to kind of save that. So, although my healing word has a range of 60 feet, so it's even more dangerous
Well,
if we go by range.
it's more the fact that this spell affects things outside of the area because it heals anything within that area. Just because it has a range that could affect something outside wouldn't set it off as long as you're casting it in one of these dead zones. It's just if something can affect an area that's not a dead zone, there's a possibility the eyes will pick it up.
Does that apply to things that you can because I thought something like that was like of your choosing.
It is of my choosing, but it's 6 creatures within that area.
Yeah, if you want to roll a dice on that, the thing with that is it's a long lasting effect is the thing. Right. So different than a single spell cast.
Right. There's also the one way it takes 12 seconds, and we're back on the road. The other takes 10 minutes, and the more time we give them to prepare, if we're going to give them time, I think we should just give them a full hour and get all of us back up to full health.
Yeah, I think the hour is probably...
I can, if spare is a relative term, but I can use a higher level spell slot to get you both, to get Vala and Argenta back up to significant fighting form.
I mean, but then
it won't be full, but it will be.
Then that's also wasting, or not? It's using a spell slot.
Even with even taking a short rest, I promise you're not going to get up to full.
I mean, the thing about these two that I can tell from that confrontation, if I'm anywhere not close to my full form, I'm not going to be able to take on Vincent. He's dangerous. And her, you kind of need to jump on her very quickly based on what I saw when I woke up.
They are on their back foot, but the problem is because of that carriage. I promise you, they're both back up to full form now.
Yeah.
Though she's now scared of you. She acted like a recruit that's never seen their own blood before.
Well, and if we're also assuming that if they can just spend 20 seconds inside their little wagon, and they're all back up to full, we've already given them more than enough time that they need.
Yeah.
Giving them another hour won't really hurt that much.
Well, I'm just saying, but like,
They want to be
but I mean, an hour is not going to. I mean, comparatively speaking, we will recoup some, but I think regardless, it's going to take resources on our end, unless I don't think. I mean, unless we want to try to risk a long rest, which I doubt they'll give us that much time.
No, we should. I'm thinking we should take an hour and then go after them.
Yeah.
I think I agree. Oh, that won't give me back any spell slots.
So what do you guys want to do?
I think we're taking the hour.
Okay. So as you guys sit down and rest, bind your wounds and things a little like that, Vala, do you have bard stuff that makes healing more effective?
I I do have where is it?
Long rest.
Song of Rest. So if I play a song and people who listen to that are able to hear it and expend hit dice, I can give them one extra D8 hit points. So I'm gonna very quietly play that.
Okay. So anyone that burns hit dice, add a d8 to it. Over the hour. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, on top of that, if we are gonna be doing now, we're gonna go somewhere to do this, or are we like we're going to the dead zone?
Yeah, you guys have already traveled to the dead zone. So.
Okay. So on top of that, that means Roland can dip into his other thing. I kind of feel like he would have prepared this whenever he makes his meal, so he can also, as part of a short rest, like expanded, as part of a short rest, you can cook special food, which I think he can already pre-prepare. Is the way I'd see it. Uh, where is it? As part of a short rest, you can cook special food, provided you have ingredients and cooks utensils. You can prepare enough food for a number of creatures. At the end of a short rest, any creature who eats the food and spends one or more hit dice regains an additional 1d8.
All right. So if you burn hit dice, you guys get to the 2d8. Cooking is a broad spectrum of
Yeah.
different activities. Like
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't set up a cooking fire or anything.
Yeah,
like
but I'm
that,
saying like
but-
that's why I think I think you do like preemptive preparing.
Well,
like,
being able to
stuff.
take rations and turn them into something more fulfilling than just here's some rations would be something that a skilled cook would be able
Yeah.
to do. Like you break apart an iron ration and just start adding different things to it and going, here guys, eat this. This is a little pick me up, to where
Yeah.
it's going to be more than just ooh I'm not hungry anymore to ooh I actually feel really good.
Yeah.
So it still does require you to do prep work. It still requires you to do some cooking
That's what I'm
during a
saying,
short rest, but it's not like actually bring out
Yeah.
and frying things. It's preparing things and putting them together to create something better.
This is why I think like during the day you could like at the same time when I'm doing a long rest cook to give people temporary hit points. I would imagine I could also do the same thing.
So
But however it works. Short rest. There we go.
So yeah, as you guys are resting, again, Vala, you find it almost impressive in the inadequacies that the dead zone that you guys are in doesn't move. Like it's not like the eyes are going in a certain pattern and it creates a blind spot for a moment. This particular area, the eyes never cover it at all. And you guys could stay there for a day and nothing would change unless the pattern changes. And even over the hour that you guys are doing this, the pattern's not changing.
I yeah, I'm 11 hit points down from my max now.
Okay.
I used all of my hit dice.
Hey, 11 under max is a lot better than it was.
Oh yes.
Don't forget when you roll hit dice, you add your con modifier.
Yep.
Yep.
Short rest allows you to do that, and I actually rolled one more than I needed.
I
know,
rolled
I got the pattern.
17 d8s and got 69 hit points from that, plus
Nice.
another, I think, 42. Yeah, 42 from my con modifier and the, I think 14 hit dice I rolled.
All right, so the hour passes. Again, other than the fact that the eyes in the sky are still on their like default mode, nothing in the town changes. You don't hear the sound of hooves on cobblestone at all. You don't see anything wandering the streets or anything like that. It's you're basically in a ghost town. So what do y'all want to do now?
It's a little quiet out here. So based on the direction they were heading, it seemed like they're maybe heading back to their house.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, if you look at the map, the combat happened right about here, and they just followed the road going east and then turned south. So while, yes, that is the direction of their mansion, it's also the direction that you would go to go anywhere else in the city other than west. So you can't be sure that's where they went, but it is a possibility. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
I will turn to the group and say, I think we start heading towards their house. See if the caravan is there. Or we just burn down their house. And set a trap.
I mean, I don't hate that.
Just to point out before we go to your default setting of arson, we do know that they do have a habit of occasionally having house guests in quotation marks.
That is true. I can make a small fire and give them time to escape.
As tempted as all, if I would love a rest in that wagon for someone to recoup things, but I would also expect them to booby trap that at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that I think they're clever. I think they're just both gigantic spoiled dicks.
The thing about spoiled dicks, though, a bully doesn't expect you to punch them in the nose. When we bloodied them, her specifically, she did not react well.
True, but she's going to be stewing now, and she strikes me as someone who's very cruel when upset. You've seen how cruel they are when they're in a good mood.
Right. Yeah, let's start heading to the house, see what we see.
Okay. So, because of the change to the eyes in the sky, it is now child's play to travel, even on the road, without being spotted by them. So you guys can go as fast as you want with very little fear of anything happening. So as you get...
I think as we're...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if we do get that, like, we're going that far, are we, like, do we get to this point?
Sure, yeah.
Relwyn's going to be like a child passing McDonald's. Orb house. There's an orb house. Orb house.
We
Orb
have
house.
orbs at home.
It's not the same.
You
have orb
said
money?
we could have orb house. You hate me. You want me to die. Yeah. I will say, Argenta and Relwyn, why don't you guys roll me wisdom saves? Argenta, yours with disadvantage.
Oh, no.
Is it a charm effect?
This is a curse effect, so not quite the same.
Oh, wisdom save? Wisdom save.
Wisdom save, yep. Clerics generally have very low wisdom scores, so should be very difficult for you.
I rolled an 11, so I only got a 21.
21. Damn, not enough. Argenta, what do you got?
Guidance.
And then 2. 13.
13, okay. So, as you guys get to here, shortly after passing Orb House, and Rowan throwing his little temper tantrum, Argenta, you feel an extremely strong pull to the west. And when you get here, without even thinking, you hang a right and go until around here. And that's when you start to kind of regain your senses. And you feel there's an orb very, very close.
Wait, where did I go?
Here. Can you see that on the map?
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. I would show you at home, but then it shows everything. Because I see things that they don't.
Kind of shakes her head and looks around for the others.
Well, I imagine we would have seen them.
Yeah, they didn't. Argenta didn't disguise it. She, as you guys are walking, she just hangs a right and then just keeps going. Very purposeful.
Argenta? Argenta!
You see her kind of shake her head. There's an orb that's close by. That was weird.
We don't need more orbs, though.
No, but
I mean, it would help.
Would it, though?
Well, they clearly don't want us to have them. They don't want us to have the good orbs.
They want us to find them, though. I don't think we should be playing their game anymore.
Yeah.
I know. We stop them, then we can take our time finding the orbs in the town.
yes, that makes sense.
Argenta, go ahead and roll me another wisdom save with disadvantage.
But that orb house has the limited edition, Beanie Baby.
It's not the same. If we wait, then someone else will get it.
That
Then
one
they'll
was
be-
much better. 19?
19. Okay.
That orb house has that one Monopoly piece. Everyone remembers that fucking game.
As
Rowan Baggins!
as your friends are attempting to convince you that you don't need the orb, in your mind, they sound like morons. And the more you hear them, the more you are convinced that not only are they stupid, but they're actively trying to hurt you. And you're just kind of getting into this mental rhythm of they don't care about you, they want to hurt you, they're trying to take away. And it's suddenly just at one moment, as you're kind of repeating this mantra in your head of these people don't care about me, they just care about themselves, they want to take it for themselves, they're going to steal them from me, they're going to murder me in my sleep, and you just suddenly just have this click of, this is nonsense. I haven't known these people for an extremely long time, but they would never do any of this stuff. And it kind of breaks you out of the fugue that you had been in for the last couple minutes, and you're finally able to kind of think clearly and actually listen to what they're saying. And it does start making a lot more sense now.
To be fair, in his current state, Rowan might.
Okay, everyone but Rowan. You're pretty okay with being around. Rowan, still a bit of a freak.
He got 2 orbs.
We should stop pondering the orbs and we should head into the manor. We can get the orbs later.
Have plenty of time to ponder the orbs afterwards.
Yes.
He's got big orbs and she's got big orbs.
I don't know. There was someone in rows that looked like Christopher Lee hanging around one of them. I don't think it's gonna be there when we get back.
Fool of a duke.
So, you guys start heading back to the mansion then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, as you get here, which is basically kind of the start of the road that goes to the mansion, you can see the mansion itself is set up, and there are actual architectural terms that I know none of them. So I'm just going to explain what it looks like, and anyone that actually knows what this stuff is can fill in the blanks later. But, so, the mansion itself has this kind of, like, the mansion is built so that there's a road that actually goes through, and you can see, like, rooms above it. It goes through, and then there's a little courtyard on the inside, and then the rest of the mansion around it. And you guys can see, even from where you are, you don't see the carriage, but you do see the horses have been tied up next to a water basin with some hay and stuff like that. And you do see an area with a very, very large kind of garage door looking to the thing where it would be very easy to store the carriage. The mansion itself, like I said, is massive. The main building behind the courtyard has 5 stories. The kind of front house area is 2 stories, and it just kind of slopes upward, where the very front of it's 2 stories, and then as you get towards the sides, it gets up to 3 stories and 4 stories, and then the main house in the back is a full 5 stories, complete with like a widow's walk above the 5th story.
There is one counterpoint to my argument I didn't realize about the carriage. Maybe them being dicks enough to trap the carriage would mean that they knew that we knew about the carriage. They didn't know that we spied them doing their thing.
I don't know that they would think anybody would be presumptuous enough to try to break into their carriage.
Yeah.
Well, also the fact that they wouldn't necessarily be aware that we know what their carriage is doing.
As you
And
guys,
they could trap it. I just don't think there'll be the possibility of trapping it. But worst case scenario, I don't think they'd trap it so much that it would risk destroying it.
as you guys are having this conversation, you suddenly hear a sound in the distance, like metal scraping on stone. And as you watch, you can see a little movement from the mansion. You suddenly see a suit of armor walking the perimeter of the mansion. And if you wait for another 30 seconds to a minute, you'll see another one come through. See another one through a window. It seems there is a fair number of animated armors kind of patrolling the mansion in and of itself. Aside from that, you don't see anything else. Would you say, Argenta?
No, I was just saying they're being careful.
All right, so we can see that big door. We can guess the carriage is on the other side of that. I can kind of judge how far away that is, and then I could dimension door myself and someone else just a little further than that. And maybe scope things out, and I would have enough magic to dimension door us back here. If things get too crazy. But that could also give us potentially enough time to get into the carriage, and if it does let us recharge.
That is providing if we have to do anything to activate the carriage. We don't know what it takes. If this is simply just going into it, or do they have to do something special?
Right. I mean, I know I was able to turn on that one orb. If it's just a simple activation, I might know enough. I might be able to figure out enough how to jumpstart it.
Conceivably, it's the only way I can see us getting an edge.
As long as activating that carriage, they can only do it so many times a day.
Well, we do know she did it at least twice, and she didn't think anything else about it. Now, granted, we had her severely on the back foot, but I'm willing to bet that she's been doing it quite often elsewhere, if she even suspected where we were.
Yeah.
She popped fireballs and that whatever the hell else that other thing was with not a care. So
Right.
they
I
don't
mean,
seem to be limited on resources.
I'm willing to risk it for the benefit.
Yeah.
Risk it for the biscuit.
I already made biscuits.
All right, so who wants to go with me?
Well, question: Do you? So are we intending to go in and just scout and then come back, or
Well, I'm thinking of going in scouting, and if the coast is clear, maybe just going straight for the wagon. And if it's not, beating a hasty retreat.
okay? I'm the least stealthy if we see an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe me. I mean, I feel the one that for both of our jobs.
No, as I'm saying, like if we go in for an open, if other people can sneak up stealthily while Vala takes me, I don't think it. No one else needs to have the challenge of stealth beside me.
I
Other,
mean, you are wearing a whole lot of pots and pans.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
pack it
need all
away.
of those?
I pack them all away securely and safely so that way they don't get scratched
Do
up.
you need to understand?
I didn't hear any of you complaining when I was making cinnamon rolls.
That's it. Next time you go to sleep, I'm going to take your cast iron pan and I'm just going to stick it in the dishwasher.
Oh,
I hope you
That's a
enjoy.
version of PvP I don't think I can stop.
no.
You will be having iron rations for the rest of your life, conceivably.
You'll be eating the cast iron in your iron rations.
I I tease. I would never do that.
By
I
the way, if
appreciate.
anyone is not familiar with how cast iron works, you don't clean it that way. Like, you don't put it in the dishwasher, it would ruin it. You would remove the
That it-
seasoning from it. It would be horrible.
That is a war crime.
Anyway, I will say, in order to dimension door into the place where you think the carriage might be, you're more than 500 feet away. So you would need to travel about like 300 or 400 feet. Like this, it's a really long driveway.
Got
So you'd have to at least travel about 300 or 400 feet on the driveway to get there. But yeah. So that being said,
So
what
what's
do you guys
the
want to
sorry?
do?
Yeah, so it's like from here to here. I don't know if you can see my arrow as I drag it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So like I don't know what the feet conversion thing is.
I would say, you know, multiply. Like let's call the driveway itself 1,500 feet ish. So you'd have to go like 2/3 up the driveway to get to the point that you could to teleport in.
Okay.
So it's a long driveway.
So we very quietly sneak our way up the driveway. We bamf into the coach house and see if the coach is there. And if it is, we try to get in. I think, personally, I think Relwyn, if you and I go, we're the two magic users. We would benefit the most if this lets us get back our spell slots. It's just,
We're also assuming it works in that fashion. I mean, it might be something esoteric like the Bloody Fang had with his barrier.
it is possible we go through this and it doesn't do anything for us.
The other option is, can you do any more of the pass without a trace?
Yeah, I can.
I mean, I'm very stealthy, so
Bear in mind again that would be, I mean, like I'll have to step out of it just to explain it because RP versus this. I have a +1. I don't have disadvantage, but I have a +1 to my stealth.
And don't you have to roll disadvantage because of your... you don't have plate armor.
No, I have a breastplate.
Okay.
Should be what I have.
And that's why I was making the pots and pans joke.
Yes.
All right, so again, what do you guys want to do? Time's ticking away.
Well, do we want to try to sneak up as a group and try to sneak past? I'm okay to try that too.
I think, to a certain point, we're going to have to because of the distance we have to traverse. We may have, at some point, I'll rely on your judgment and decide if you decide we need to do a teleport dimension
Okay.
tour.
All right. Well, so are we all going as a group and sticking together?
That
mean-
distance
Yeah,
is
the-
probably for the best.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Alright.
why doesn't everybody give me stealth checks?
Are
Do
we?
the eyes look here at all, or do they avoid here?
Make me a perception check real quick.
Nat 20, so 28.
Yeah, it's more than enough.
I also looked and got a 32.
Okay. So between the two of you, the eyes surveil the beginning of the driveway, but they stop their surveillance about, 150, 200 feet in. So after that point, the eyes just aren't patrolling.
All right. Once we're like in that zone where they're not, I'll pass without trace us.
Okay. So, yeah, stealth checks with a plus 10 from everybody.
It's a 19, but it was cocked. I won't honor it. 27.
27, cool. Lillian,
Step away real quick.
25.
Kit, Argenta, some
28.
number in the upper 50s.
28.
28, okay. Vala,
43.
Vala stops existing for a little bit. The rest of you guys, you're able to get pretty damn close. If you can see, there's this. So the way that the mansion works, you can see there's these little stairs that kind of go up, and then the road goes past it. So there's a courtyard that we can't see on the picture here, right in the middle, and the road goes in. You guys are able to get right up to this staircase without being seen by anything. And the little building where the carriage, where you think the carriage is right here. So, what do you guys want to do? Please don't all speak at once.
I think very carefully and quietly make our way through the courtyard towards the coach house.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
where that door is.
Okay. Go ahead and give me another set of stealth checks, this time with disadvantage.
But still the first
Yep. Pass trace is still on. I think it lasts. It lasts for like an hour, or is it 10 minutes, Argenta?
An hour.
An hour. Yeah. It's you guys will until Argenta gets rid of it. You guys will be using it. Rowan, another stealth check with disadvantage this time.
Why do we have disadvantage?
Because you are under surveillance of all the different animate arbors. Because you're the party is trying to sneak through the courtyard to get right next to that door that has the where you guys think the carriage is.
17 or 17. So 17, 18, 28.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Vala?
Thank you, Dropout. I'm loving your dice.
I rolled very low and got a 31.
Argenta?
I beat Vala with a 32.
Ooh. And then Liliane?
24.
Okay. So again, you guys aren't having too much difficulty, but you do start seeing there are a lot of animate arbors kind of patrolling the area. You see them through a bunch of windows and things like that. You think bare minimum there's at least a dozen of them, maybe 24 in various places around the mansion. Now it's a massive mansion, so even with 24 of them around in any given area, there's no more than maybe 2 to 4. But if for whatever reason they all came together, that's a lot of animate armors. You guys get to the door itself, and you guys can all feel magic radiate. Like before you guys even get right next to it, you can feel some pretty powerful magical energy kind of radiating from that particular building. And you have no problem getting right up to the door. However, you notice the door has nothing that would indicate how you open it. There's no handle, there's no pull chain, nothing.
Could it be arcane locked? And he's like Rowan's asking this to Vala.
I would imagine so. That would be on brand for them.
Open sesame. Password.
I can't feel. I
Belloc.
can't feel rock. Simple to the bedroom door at the kids' house. Simple smell of mechanism.
Not real. Like this. This is a kind of magic that none of you guys have experienced before. So it really is rather unique to you guys, or at least you haven't experienced in this particular campaign. Let's put it that way.
Vala would like to pull out her Flipper Zero and run a brute force attack against the garage door combinations.
Sure. What's we were talking about Shadowrun before. What do you do for Deckers? Yeah, Rowan.
I hate to lean into this again, and for all I know, Liliane could be out by now. Could Liliane figure this out with psychometry?
You don't know. I mean, psychometry in and of itself really only works if something real bad has happened in the area, and you don't know if something bad has
Tons
happened.
of bad shit has happened. In
Well, I mean, yeah, there is that, but it will focus specifically on the bad shit, not so much like opening a garage door is only really bad shit for like your dog.
Are there seams to
I
this
let
door?
you close it and
Well, I mean,
There
if
are
they close it, they're going to go do the bad things.
seems like it's very obvious that this is a door that is intended to open. But you don't see any hinges. You don't see any pull handles. You don't see any doorknobs. Nothing like that. So you're not sure. It's like that. Normally, something like this, you'd have kind of like barn doors, to where they would kind of swing open, or sometimes you might have a big sliding door kind of thing, which is also very popular in barns. That generally is how a building like this would handle such a large door, because your normal hinges aren't going to work for something this large. But you don't see anything. It's just, I mean, it's obvious it's a door, but you can't figure out how to open it from this side.
Are there any signs or disturbances on the ground or around the door that shows if it's been opened out at all?
Make me an investigation check.
Rowan actually would ask Vala, because I think because he at this point he understands that she's lived a higher life than most people. It's like, would they have any entrances for like servants?
I would imagine so.
I rolled an 11.
11.
I
As
can't
far as
imagine
you
letting.
Let me real quick deal with Argenta's roll. As far as you can tell, the ground that you guys are on is completely paved and is pristine looking. There's no dust, there's no dirt, there's no nothing. It's very, very pretty. So, back to you, Argenta.
I was just saying, I don't think they're gonna let the suits come in and out the front door.
Servants entry. I don't know if they have other places like this when they have servants entrances.
I mean, I would imagine there would be servant entrances, or a back way in. I'm just not sure, unless this is all.
If you'd like to kind of intuit where you would think a servant's entrance to be based on your own experience in the kind of upper class, you can use insight or history, whichever you like better.
I'm gonna go history because lore bard,
Cool.
and I'm gonna use my heroic inspiration.
Go for it.
Only got a 30.
Damn, not enough. Yeah,
Just keep going down.
looking at this building, first of all, from what you can tell from them, they would have to have servants entrance. They would never want to have to deal with like going through the same door that the help goes through. And in a mansion this size, there's probably an entire servant's wing, and something that is relatively common with things like this and larger castles and things like that is the servants will have an entire kind of passageway system to where they can get to almost anywhere they need to without being viewed by the owners. So if you can figure out how to get into the kind of servants passages, you could probably move around the entire mansion without being seen. From here, you, with a 30, you would intuit there has to be a servant's entrance somewhere in this courtyard because any deliveries, there isn't an alternate path around that you could take a cart to get food deliveries and stuff. So there has to be some sort of servant's entrance somewhere off of this courtyard, and it would need to be somewhere out of sight enough that the owners would be able to go into their courtyard and never have to worry about seeing the servant's entrance. Where you are right now, this is in full display of everything. So you don't think the servant's entrance is going to be anywhere near this carriage house. But looking around a little bit, you do see there's a big staircase that leads into the main manor house. And to the side of it, there's all these other places and things. To the side of it, there's a little gap that's just wide enough for a single person to be able to walk through. And if you weren't looking very closely, you would just think that it's just an architectural thing. You know, the stairs have to end somewhere, and so that's, you think if there was a servant's quarters, that would probably be the best place for it to be because it requires them to kind of go around a little bit. And then as soon as they're in that pathway, unless you're standing right at the edge of the stairs, which an aristocrat would never do, they enter dead center, you wouldn't be able to see anything going on there because the walls themselves at the side of the stairs are high enough that you would basically just have to crouch down maybe a foot to be completely invisible in that passage. So you think if there's a servant's quarters, that's the most likely area it would be.
I will kind of like glance around and go, I bet it's over there. It's well hidden, but easily enough to access. I think if we go over there, we'll find a way into the servants area, and probably some passages around the house where we can move quietly.
Do we think that'll get us into the carriage house?
I think if we can navigate through there, definitely.
Rowan just shrugs and goes,
Okay.
This is
Alright.
your area.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Okay. So you get in there, not too difficult. As you kind of go down this very claustrophobic passage, you eventually come to a stone wall. What do you want to do?
Follow will start pushing on the stone wall.
Okay. Make me an investigation check with advantage.
$25.
So without too much difficulty, you're kind of pushing against the wall, and the wall itself is a wall. It's a nice wall. It's a brick wall. Very, very nice. And as you're sitting there, you're realizing, as you push on and everything, there's no way that this wall is moving. You start getting a little bit frustrated. Well, maybe I didn't do this right. And you go to lean against the wall next to you, and it gives in. And
Full of Daphne.
yeah. And the wall itself moves very effortlessly, and suddenly you see a tray just floating in front of you.
Vala would understand this is an unseen servant.
Yeah.
I'll like gesture everybody to very carefully walk around it.
After a few moments, the tray, which has like a full tea setting on it, the tray turns, continues floating off.
Of course, they're going to use unseen servants rather than actual people. Although using unseen servants and using servants' passages like this is just so fucking obnoxious. Pardon my French.
So as you guys could go in, the servants' passages in and of themselves are unpleasant, to say the least. They're relatively claustrophobic. There's really no comfort to them. They are utilitarian. You know, they're there for a purpose. They're not there for comfort. They're not lit particularly well, but there are enough torches and candles and things like that that it is basically permanently dim light. So there's no darkness anywhere in any of the servants' passages, but there's only very rare spots where you're in bright light. It's mostly just dim light throughout the entire thing. So, what do you guys want to do? The passage that you're in right now is just single. It can go, you can go to the left, which turns after about 15 feet, or you can go to the right, which keeps going straight for about 50 or 60 feet, and then just due to the dim light, it gets a little bit too difficult to kind of figure out where the corridor ends and where something else begins.
So I think kind of in my head, if we were staring at the coach house, we would have headed towards the left to go towards the servants' entrance.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we would want to try to go right to go back towards the coach
Yes.
house.
So coach house would be to the right. To the left would be other places.
So yeah, I'm thinking we head this way, guys, and start going down towards the right.
Marching order, because it is tight enough that you guys can only go single file. Who wants to be in the front?
I'll be in the front, and I'm just going to be letting Vala lead me.
Okay. So Vala, you directly behind Argenta then?
I'll be in the second spot.
Okay. Then who wants to take up the rear? Welwyn or Lillian?
I could be like that.
Okay. So Welwyn, you'll be at the rear. As you guys are moving, you do encounter a few more unseen servants. One of them had like a stack of linens. The other one you smelled before you saw them because they were coming through with a plate of like roast duck and an orange sauce kind of coming through. But as you guys keep going, this particular passage kind of winds and weaves a little bit, but doesn't really branch off for a little while until suddenly you get to an area where 6 of these passages all meet. And due to kind of the winding nature of the passage, you're not 100% certain where you are in the mansion anymore. You know you are to the right of where you started, but it turned and moved so many times that you're not 100% certain what direction you're looking for anymore, specifically for the carriage room. So you've got 5 choices, because one of the 6 hallways is the one you came from. Where do you want to go? We'll name the first one, the left will be 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Magenta,
Right.
do we think there's any mice in this place?
I doubt it.
So Vala starts looking through her pack to see if she has like chalk or anything. She's like, I've got these diamonds. We could just use these as No, that's
You've got tents.
I can lay tents down and use them as landmarks. Actually, no. I have a chess set,
Okay.
so I'm gonna take out the White Queen,
Mm-hmm.
put this at the entrance to the hallway that we just came out of,
All right.
kind of off to the side a little bit, and then I'm thinking just start at 5 and we work our way down that hallway, see where that goes. If it goes into a dead end or something, we can come back and then go down 4 and be very
Okay.
systematic.
Sure. So any objections to doing that?
No.
Okay. So as you guys go down the 5th hallway, the first thing that you notice is after probably about 30 feet, the hallway itself starts becoming significantly more humid, to the point where you're starting to see condensation on the walls, and it's becoming warmer as well. And eventually, after about like 40-ish feet of kind of wandering around, you eventually come to a room with these massive copper basins that have large fires underneath them, and kind of pipes going in all different directions. You realize you've probably come to effectively the water heater.
If we can fuck with this, cause it to pop up through the house, that would be funny.
If anyone wants to try and figure out how widespread the plumbing might be, feel free to make an investigation check. I don't think anyone here has a plumber background, right?
No, we crank the heat way up, assuming they're taking a bath. Fuck with them.
No, we turn the heat off so that way it's cold water.
No, we'll find a bathroom for
I got a 12 for my investigation.
I got a 12 as well, actually. Yeah.
Looks very pipe-like to you.
Hmm.
You start wondering if your cousin Mario could help you out with this. Anyone else going to try for it or no?
investigation, was it?
Yepers?
Um, 25?
Damn. So as these guys are wandering around going, yes, very pipe-like, pretty sure that this carries water. Uh, Lillian just immediately turns, oh, yeah, I've worked on one of these systems like a dozen times. They're all basically the same. You see, the problem with them is when they get a little temperamental, and so sometimes you just got to give them a little whack, and then they start working perfect for you. Probably good for like 10, 15 years. Push them too much further than that, and you're going to have some problems. So, Lillian, you're able to kind of look through, and it makes sense to you as far as everything works. And you realize something, that one of these large basins is basically kind of connected to the roof, and doesn't have direct heat underneath. It's kind of a double boiler style system. And you realize you're looking at the bottom of a copper bathtub, a very large copper bathtub, but that particular thing is basically that's the bathroom is what you're looking at right there, the actual bathroom. And so if anyone was using it, they would be in there, and the water itself is heated through just kind of keeping the copper bathtub itself heated very, very well. Not enough to burn anybody, which is why they use that kind of double boiler system, because it distributes the heat significantly more evenly.
Well, not burning anyone unless you have fire.
Yeah.
So, and with a 25, you think that's what you know. With a 25, unless you try to do something else, with a 25, all you know is you're looking at the actual bathroom. If anyone is taking a bath, there's literally just a little bit of copper between you and them.
Is it on? If we listen?
Make a perception check.
No.
Is that help?
Sure. I'll give you advantage on it.
Yeah.
Alright. Hold up. Nearly lost the die. Oh, it turned an 8 into a 28 with a nat 20.
Not bad. So, the tub is full currently, and the double boiler has been working long enough that the tub itself is pretty warm. Like, again, never warm enough to actually burn anyone, but warm enough that sitting in a tub this temperature would probably be very, very relaxing. So it is currently full of water and has been on for a little while.
Argenta,
Yes.
your knife.
What about it? Oh, I
That
could.
makes things very cold, doesn't it?
Ooh.
I mean,
Cold enough to freeze water.
I can kill fire.
Can you freeze water with somebody in it?
It ends fire. It doesn't do that. Couldn't you like create a bonfire like right under the bathtub?
I mean, yes, I could make that bath water very, very hot. But do we want to do that, or do we want to do I do that now, or do we want to go?
I mean, the only thing.
I feel anything we do now could potentially give us away.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good to know if we plan later.
Yeah, I think we keep moving.
Okay.
Is there an ongoing fire though?
Yeah, there's a pretty decent coal fueled fire with a pretty big vent over it to kind of get rid of the smoke, so this
I
doesn't
literally-
become like a death trap.
If I draw my dagger, it just goes out. It's like-
Do we want it to go out, or do we instead want to close the vent?
No, if we close the vent, this area becomes a death trap.
Yeah.
I imagine it would
You
become
know that,
It
smoky
does
and things, and then there would be a gas.
in here, not up there.
yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, just to clarify, because I understand what you're saying too. Is the vent? Is the vent? Does the vent open into this entranceway, or is the vent for direction for somewhere else?
It takes the smoke generated from the fire and shunts it out of the building completely.
Okay.
so if we
it's
close it,
it's like a stove hood kind of thing.
Yeah, if you close the fire's here, so if we close it, smoke gathers
And the
here.
pipe is here too. So if it goes anywhere first, it would go here.
right.
Yeah, and all the pipes in here are sealed for the most part. There are certain places where you can kind of open the various kind of brass to tanks and add more water and things like that. But for the most part, it's a sealed system.
Yeah, the only thing about drawing the dagger here is it would make it seem like it malfunctioned more than someone fitzed with it because we're not touching it. It's just the fire goes out.
Right. Well, and then they may eventually they would realize that something is wrong and may come down and investigate, but they wouldn't know immediately that we were here.
Yes.
And if they came down here, they wouldn't immediately know that we had been here. So I'm not against that.
Well, except for all the chess pieces we're leaving.
That's true. Damn it, I need a calling card.
So what are you guys gonna do?
We also just keep searching for the carriage house access.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
back and go to passage number 4.
Yeah, let's not expose ourselves to just yet.
Okay. So you guys go back. You run into a few other unseen servants along the way. Start going down the passage 4, and after about 20 or so feet, you guys are overwhelmed with this very strong odor of manure. And then the passage splits. One goes to the right, and the other one continues going straight. And the scent of manure seems to come stronger from the one that goes to the right.
It's either a garden or that is a stable with the horses.
Which
I also both.
So where do you guys want to go?
And the stable is outside of the carriage house, right?
You guys actually didn't see stables. What you saw was both horses were just tied up
Yeah.
to a hitching post with water and hay next to them, like a big
Okay.
water basin and some hay. But you guys haven't actually seen stables.
They also may not be intending to stable them yet. They may be intending to go back out.
Yeah.
So where do you guys want to go?
I say we follow our noses first.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So as you go, it only takes another like 10, 15 feet. You open up to an area that's a little bit darker than the hallway that you were in because there's no illumination right now. But you most definitely can see stalls for horses. You can smell the manure, though looking around, you don't see any. It's actually very, very well kept. You can see in the rafters there's hay storage, and you can see at the other side there's two big, much more familiar looking barn doors that just work on a standard kind of hinge system. and they are currently unbarred. There's a big bar that could be used to lock them, and they're not.
Okay.
So this is more the stable.
Mm-hmm. So what do y'all want to do?
So the only other ways out of here are the way we came in, and then those doors.
Yeah, and the doors. Mm-hmm.
So then I think we need to backtrack and go the other way.
Okay. So backtracking, you go the other way, and after no more than about 5 feet down the passage, you guys feel like you walk through a field of some sort, and you instantly start feeling that very strong feeling of magic just penetrating everything. Sure, there's a word. And as you guys continue going, you eventually come to a wall that is obviously supposed to be a door, but there is a rune inscribed on it that you, Vala, you would recognize a rune of locking.
There's your arcane lock.
Do we think we know the positioning what this might lead to?
I mean, you've been turned around so much, it's hard to tell, but it feels the exact same as it did when you guys were outside the carriage house. So putting two to two together, you can't be 100% sure, but you can be like 99%.
Do I know how to pick a rune of locking?
You know that the way that these particular runes are designed is there will generally be an object or something that is designed to temporarily deactivate it. So there is a key type thing that can be used. Otherwise, if you just like dispel the magic, the locking mechanism in and of itself will dispel with it. But the big difference being, if you use the key, it will relock itself. If you dispel it, the spell ends. And unless someone casts a new spell, it will never start again. So those are really the only two ways to quote-unquote pick it. Is either have the key or just find a way to end the magic itself.
Guys, maybe the orb is the key. Just hand me the orb and I'll try.
No.
Groans all the way to the back.
I'll take that as a maybe. No, if if one of us knows how to dispel magic, I think that could work. But
I do.
We have a volunteer from the back of the audience.
I don't need to touch it. I don't need to touch it. I can actually do it from range. So
Sure.
Just roll one thing. Like, I don't want to be too meta, but I don't know. Your knowledge would dispelling it be a signal?
Make me an Arcana check. Ending.
Rome was going to ask Argented, like, do I think this is going to trip a signal?
Ask Vala.
Vala, yeah.
So anyone that wants to make an Arcana check, because the spell itself, it's not like a concentration spell where you would know when it ends or something like that. There would have to be another spell or something designed to alert if it was tampered with. So an Arcana check would basically be you guys kind of checking to see, is there another thing here?
Natural 20 for a total of 28.
28, cool. Anyone want to try for higher than a 28?
I did not get that.
Okay.
No.
So Vala, looking it over, almost imperceptible, there are a string of runes of warning that kind of go around the door itself. With a 28, you think if the rune of locking were just dispelled, you think that all of the runes of warning would go off. But as far as you can tell, there's nothing attached to the runes of warning themselves. That if they were disabled, nothing would happen. There's not like a double blind method. There's no there we go. There's no redundancy built into this.
So if Relwyn were to dispel those runes first,
Yeah.
there would be no warning that they had been dispelled, and then we can dispel the lock without any warning.
Effectively. And you think, as much as there's a bunch of different runes, it's just one rune.
Okay, I was gonna. Okay. It was like, this is bullshit.
No, just a single rune. It's just having just one giant rune there would kind of defeat the purpose. So they drew it as a bunch of little runes.
This is
But
some
it's one
Full
spell.
Metal Alchemist bullshit. I cannot fucking. What the fuck?
Suddenly a suit of armor comes over and says, "Brother?"
Oh.
So
It was
Yeah, at least it's not a Father's Day episode.
So, Rowan, from what you can see, because and Vala would clue you in this as well, because the runes of warding were hidden, they're pretty basic. So you think just casting a dispel magic, no roll necessary, you can just dispel them.
I was like, ooh, a roll.
The rune of locking, however, is significantly more complex, and you think that one's actually going to require you to manipulate things. So, if you want to use both those spell slots, I just need a spellcasting check for the second one. The first one just works.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just like I would dispel it for the first one. For the warning.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I see him starting to like focus on the locking, I'm gonna pull out my lute and start, strumming my lo-fi mix, the study mix, to help him focus and give him inspiration.
Is that going to be loud?
No, it's very quiet.
Yeah. It's very calm, relaxing. I was waiting for him for starting to...
I'm giving you inspiration! Yeah!
I was waiting for show me how to lie, I'm getting closer all the time. So dance, fucker, dance, now you never had a chance. So yeah, you get bardic inspiration from that.
And so, sorry, what was that?
D10.
D10. D10. And okay, so I'm trying to understand. Like, so if I'm rolling for this, what do I need to roll? Just
Make a spell attack effectively.
spell attack. Okay.
I don't know what the actual rules are for the spell, but that's the way I like to do it, is just make a spell attack roll. It's your spellcasting ability modifier plus your proficiency, so it's the same roll.
Okay. Okay. So I'll do that, and let's go ahead and mark it off as one way or another. I'm using that.
Just because I'm curious, I don't think spell.
What's up?
Spell magic. No, go ahead. It's not going to change
Oh,
anything.
okay. And I will be using my heroic inspiration.
Oh yeah. So yeah, what it's supposed to be is you just add your spell.
It's a spellcasting ability, so I didn't know if I'm.
Technically, you're not supposed to add your proficiency to the check. For this particular thing, just do the roll that I decided on before. Add your proficiency.
Okay.
And going forward, we'll do it the way it's supposed to be.
16 or... I'll take the 16. 16 plus D10. That's 7. Because I am horrible at this. 7. 16. Plus 12. 35.
Well, so as you're sitting there kind of delving into this thing, a ward of locking is really simple. You've used them yourself in your work with the church, because you do things like you lock up sacred relics, things like that. It's a really, really simple spell. A lot of spellcasters learn it very, very early on. This is the most complicated arcane lock you've ever seen, or ward of locking you've ever seen. It's incredibly intricate, and there's so many aspects of this particular spell that are basically designed that you make a slight mistake, and not only does the spell magic not work, but it locks the lock itself for like a day or two.
Rowan starts casting. He's casting, so he can't say, "Oh, I fucked up." And he's like, "Oh, oh."
You guys see just like sweat. He just like breaks out in a flop sweat as he's doing this. And you guys notice like the spell itself, like the spell magic is an action. It's a very, very quick spell. But you watch as Relwyn casts it, and then a minute passes, and Relwyn is still working on it. And then 2 minutes, 3 minutes. 10 minutes later, Relwyn finally goes, whoa. And you guys watch as the lock just vanishes. But he is drenched in sweat.
They are not clever enough to do that.
No, absolutely not. And Vala will use prestidigitation to create like a little fan. Just
As the lock dissipates, the wall itself kind of falls forward and goes into the ground seamlessly. And you guys can see in front of you is the carriage, not hooked up to anything, but there in all of its glory. What do y'all want to do?
Rowan, like, do we think it's trapped?
I think the door was the trap. I don't. Well,
Maybe probably the cat.
So physical traps are an investigation check. Magical traps are an arcana check. Anyone that wants to go for it.
Vala will go Arcana.
I'll go with it.
Okay.
Look. Oh, look. God. Yeah, 9.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything.
You're focusing on keeping you guys stealthy.
22 for Arcana.
Okay.
I rolled a 10.
Okay. So, as far as you can tell, there doesn't seem to be any traps. Vala, as you're looking over, just trying to figure out, if I wanted to put an arcane trap here, where would I put it? What would I do with it? You realize the carriage itself is an extremely powerful magic object, and putting magical effects on a magic object ends poorly very often. If the item itself was not created with those things in mind, adding them later is generally a bad idea. So as far as you can tell, you don't think there's any traps, any external magical traps. Now, if part of the operation there's a trap built into it, you wouldn't be able to tell that without interacting with it. But you don't see anything that would indicate any kind of arcane trap on there. And looking around the room, there's no runes. There's nothing that would really be... Like, the room itself is impeccably clean. That's something that you notice everywhere. Everything is very clean, very meticulously clean. There's no... there's no, like, dirt on the floor. There's no mud from, like, horses' hooves or anything on here. Like, everything is very, 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 very clean. And because of that, there's nowhere you could really hide any sort of rune or something that would act as an arcane trap. Like, the best runes in the world, the most secretive runes in the world, still have to glow at least a little bit because there's magical energy in them. And there's just nowhere to hide any here. Unless they're literally underneath the small part of the wheels that covers the floor, there's nowhere else that they could be. So what do you all want to do?
This question is going to be, how do we figure out how to use it? Do we just go into it? One of us takes a turn?
Think you could identify it, Paula?
I mean,
I can ritually spellcast.
yeah, I can ritually cast Identify as well. But I don't know that we're going to find anything on the outside. I think we need to go inside and look and see if there's like an arcane control panel
Or no,
or
this is a magic item. Your Identify will tell us how to use it.
all right. I'll spend 10 plus minutes casting Identify to look at the outside of the
Oh,
whatchamacallit, at the outside of the
Carriage.
wagon carriage.
I'll stand guard at the entrance.
So, as you sit there and you kind of prepare everything for the ritual, you eventually get it, you cast it, and as soon as you do, you feel this incredible pain right behind your eyes. I need a charisma saving throw.
I do have the Ring of Mind shielding on.
Yes, this is not a mind control thing. This is a psychic attack.
Okay. You said wisdom?
Charisma.
Sorry. Oh, all right. Charisma
You know, that
saving
skill that you're really bad at?
So I rolled a natural 1, so I
That's
got a total of
impressive.
12.
All right, so unfortunately you fail. You take 42 points of psychic damage as you attempt to cast the Identify spell. Part of this magic item is it was specifically enchanted to the point where Identify spells, it's not that they won't work. If they're done poorly, they cause a kind of psychic backlash. And that's what so the spell slot was used up, and unfortunately you learned nothing about it other than maybe don't try that again.
Well, it's ritual.
Right.
Oh, it was a ritual, so no
It
spell
was
slot
ritual.
used.
I was casting it ritually.
If you'd used a spell slot, it would still have been used, but you didn't. So the spell itself is just wasted, and you guys watch as Vala does that. You instantly watch as like these veins start popping out of her face that are black, and she kind of coughs up a little bit of this really dark black blood. Her nose bleeds a little bit.
Ugh. Black licorice. Ugh. That didn't work. And that was actually very, very quite painful. I think we're just going to have to go inside and see what happens.
I don't like the sounds of that.
I don't particularly either. I'm wondering if just closing the door is what activates it.
Well, remember, it had to be the blinds and everything were shut. Because when it was all open, it was wide open. But when it was like everything was closed off, then she went inside.
The blinds are on the inside, though, right?
The windows and everything like that basically have a track in them that the blinds are set into.
Okay.
Does that make
They
sense?
can't be closed from the outside, though.
You could try.
I will try to close the blinds from the outside.
Well, I think if we saw her go into it, didn't she went into it and they all closed?
You guys have seen it work that way, where they all closed at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Vala is going to very carefully open the door.
Okay. The door opens. Really smoothly as well. Like hinges work really, really well. Makes very little noise as well. Like everything is just perfectly measured. When you go up to open it, you actually can't even see the seam of the door. The only reason you know that the door is there's a handle for it. So it's beautifully crafted.
Do we try one at a time, or do we try more than one
I
at a time?
think this is dumb.
So you think this is dumb? Well, that's why Vala's doing it.
So, what do you want to do?
Are we doing this one at a time or all together?
I will say one at a time. So people can keep watch. Um, would that be a part of that?
It's going to. I think if we are doing one at a time, the person who can best chance at trying to suss out the magic, if they can figure it out, then they tell the rest of us.
Yeah.
I have no skill in magic. I know the rudimentary of Arcana.
Yeah, why is you're probably for the people.
So what do I see inside this wagon, this coach?
Uh, the dashboard's genuine leather with in case there's a change in the weather. That is the entirety of how I know anything about carriages is from Surrey with the Fringe on top from Oklahoma. It is immaculate. The upholstery is gorgeous suede. It it's not like TARDIS like in the idea that it's bigger on the inside than the outside. When you open it up and look in, you don't quite understand just how large an area it is from the outside. Because if you look at it, you can easily fit all four of you in there very, very comfortably with room to spare. And as you look around, you can see on the roof, there seems to be like a table that can kind of descend down in between the two seats. Like, it is wonderful in there.
Does the table have 6 sides? Some switches on it?
No.
Okay.
So what do you want to do?
I look to the others and just start slowly closing the door.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking at the inside and I was like, well, now should we all go inside at once?
If nobody's making their way in, Vala will just shut the door.
Like, I'll ask you, like, oh, I will also. Genuinely, I'm going to ask because I need to know. Do we think you're just you?
I mean, if it's just me, you and I are the two I think that can benefit the most by getting all the spell slots back.
I am worried about you going in alone for the one part of like you took damage.
Right, I did take psychic damage, but then that means that only one of us takes damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This goes
that's
poorly.
what
If she goes in alone and something bad happens, you're here. If you both go in and something bad happens,
Then what?
she just kind of shrugs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I into a little feeling, but no one's here.
It's just more of if 2 of us go in here, or if we all go in here and we take damage, then all of us have taken damage.
Yeah,
If it's just one of us, then we're reducing the risk.
Okay. In that case, can't above board. Can I give guidance? And I think I'm not going to be loud about this.
Yeah.
Okay, then I will give guidance.
Again, there's no more eyes in the sky, so being loud is only dangerous if someone's close enough to hear you. And you guys can see anywhere where someone would be close enough to hear you. There's no one here. So once you go back in the servants' quarters, you probably want to be quiet. But here, as long as you're not screaming or anything, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Boop. To get a little guidance.
Alright, I take my guidance and I shut the door.
Okay. As you shut the door, nothing seems to change. Still very, very nice. You can still see your friends outside. All the different curtains and things like that are open.
Do I see like a lever, a
Not offhand.
arcane sigil,
There,
a
you
rope?
see nothing involving arcane sigils or anything. You don't see an obvious lever or anything like that. Other
I will,
than again, there's some stuff that'll let you bring the table down, but that's the only kind of mechanical features you can see offhand.
I will close all of the blinds.
As you go to the first blind, you try to move it. It doesn't move. It's not like it's hard to move because they look relatively flimsy. It is almost stone-like. It's not moving.
Okay. I will try to pull down the table.
Yeah, it takes you a couple seconds to kind of figure out how all the like locking mechanisms work. Table comes down, works fine. It's a nice little table. There's nothing really that special about it. It braces itself. There's two little things that kind of fold down from the side to give it some stability.
Hmm.
Out of curiosity, Argent, because every time we've seen this work, Argent is gonna get into the driver's seat and see if there's anything weird there.
Sure, go ahead and make me an investigation check.
I'll use my heroic inspiration.
Go for it.
19.
19. So getting in the driver's seat, very, very comfortable driver's seat. You have spent a fair amount of time in wagons and things like that over your career. This is the most comfortable driver's seat you have ever been in. Gives you a great view of everything. You just kind of sit there and relax for a brief moment, and you realize, oh, I'm supposed to be doing something. So you start looking around, and eventually, underneath the seat, you feel kind of a catch. And as your fingers kind of explore it, you realize it's a very small, probably no more than 6 inches long, little lever down there.
He goes, Vala. She kind of leans out the window.
Yes.
I found a lever. Every time that she's used this, he's been in the driver's seat.
I guess I just have to say, pull the lever.
You only Vala once, and she pulled the lever.
Okay, pull the lever. All of the windows shut. The driver's seat itself doesn't have any kind of enclosure or anything. It's just like a seat on the front of the carriage. But there is like a window between the driver's seat and the carriage itself. And those shut. All the other stuff kind of just shuts all at once. And as soon as they shut, you can no longer see your friends, obviously, but you can't hear them either. You are completely kind of sequestered in here. And it's really nice. Kind of relaxing.
She'll chill for like a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just like sit back. I'm assuming I don't feel like an influx of arcane power coming over me.
No,
It's just
you
quiet.
can feel like there's magic in here going on, but you have no idea what it is.
All right.
But it's
I'm
very
just
nice.
gonna-
It's very relaxing.
I'm gonna put my feet up, pull out a ration. There's
Okay.
no like books in here or anything, so
No,
I'll just
unfortunately, none of that.
I'll pull one out of my bag and
Okay.
kind of go through it.
All right. For Vala, 10 minutes pass. Nothing. What do you want to do?
I'm just gonna sit here
Okay. Another.
and probably should have told my friends if I'm in here for more than 10 minutes, knock on the door
Okay.
or try to open it. But
Well, I think we even wait 10 minutes if we're counting the time with the carriage passed.
Yeah. We'll get to you guys in a second.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna sit here for. You know what? I'm gonna take a little nap. I'm gonna just curl up and try to get a full 8 hours sleep, I guess.
Okay. So as you sit there, the first thing you notice, sleeping sitting down is not a comfortable thing. but for whatever reason, as you kind of sit there, you realize that the headrest is in a perfect spot. And you kind of just sit there and, yeah, this is really nice. And you slowly fade off. You lose consciousness. You wake up. Mouth's a little bit dry. Kind of look around. You have no idea how much time has passed. You feel better. But
Since
go ahead.
since I'm not enclosed, I can still see Relvin and everyone, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You can't see Vala anymore, but
Yeah, just because that's what we saw when we saw her use it, I'm hitting the lever again after a minute, is
okay.
essentially what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think Rowan actually would reach in and get like his pack, and he would like get out his timer, his little
Okay.
cooking timer.
So sure. We'll deal with that in a second. So
Yeah.
Ada, you're feeling amazing, but you have absolutely no clue how much time has passed, but you feel well rested.
Okay.
What
Like
do you want to do?
as if I've taken a long rest.
Yeah, I'll say you have had the effects of a long rest.
Okay. Then what do I want to do? Yeah, then I would probably at this point try the door and see if it's locked somehow or
Yeah, the door works perfectly fine, and as you if you twist the handle, you feel kind of the magic break. And as you open the door, Argenta, before you pull the lever, everything shuts, and then 6 seconds later the door opens and Vala comes out.
That was quicker. She sleeps a long time when she gets tired. My God.
I just come out and I'm like, yeah, nothing happened. The blinds closed and then nothing happened, so I just came out.
Vala, you're in there for 6 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
Rowan's pointing at the timer. He's like,
Yeah, I know. I was just in there for 6 seconds. I don't.
No, you're not bleeding out of your nose anymore. I don't believe you.
No, actually, I have no idea how long I was in there. You guys let me sleep for like at least 8 hours, maybe
You're
more.
in there for 6 seconds.
Rowan's pointing at his timer. He's just like,
Don't bullshit a bullshitter.
No. Okay, here's the thing. You
that.
sit in the seat. We're all gonna go in there. Once we're all in there, hit the lever, okay?
Okay.
Wait, Rowan's would be like, did you have to? Did anything happen? Did you have to? Any effects? Did you have to fight anything off? Did you have to touch a
No,
crystal or something?
I did nothing. I literally sat down there. I pulled down the table. Uh, Argenta pushed the lever. I thought I was gonna sit there and read a book, and then I was like, oh no, wait, no, I'm supposed to be sleeping right now. And then I went to sleep. I woke up. I opened the door. So, you guys all go in there, sit, get comfortable, get a long rest, and then open the door when you're done.
All right.
Do you think more than one of us should go in?
I think we all should. It'll make it quicker.
I mean, I don't.
Rowan's like, he's pointing at the
Even
timer. He's like 6.
even if that means that it's split between us now, that's like 18 seconds to sleep. Let's all go in there.
Okay.
I would also be concerned as to how many times it can do this.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the other
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, he's like Rowan will hand Bala the timer and go in.
All right,
The lever's right there under the seat.
got it.
All right. So as you guys go in, the blinds and everything are still closed. Because Argenta, you didn't have time to pull the lever and gig again. So when you guys all go in, as you close the door, you can all kind of feel the magic kind of start. And just like Vala, the interior is immaculate. Velvet upholstery. Everything is just beautiful. Everything works perfectly. There's a little table in there if you guys want to bring it down. There's plenty of room for all three of you to kind of stretch out and relax. And yeah, if you guys all kind of fade off into sleep. You
Yep.
guys get a long rest. You feel really great. And if you open the door, voila, they went in. 6 seconds later, they came out.
I didn't. Guys, you're supposed to let me press the lever.
That's the same thing that happened with you.
Oh.
Oh, maybe you still want to pull the lever back to make it look like we weren't here.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems that that lever is what activates it when the door's closed.
So now that we've done this, is there any way we can break this?
I mean, it would make a great prize if we beat.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion we just booby trap it for them if they run back here.
I'm
They're
gonna
all
get.
prepared for magic. Just leave a mundane trap.
I'm. I'm gonna get down below and see, like, is there like a mechanical linkage for that lever?
If there is, it is contained within the woodworking and everything like that. You would have to take apart a decent amount of this thing to be able to find the actual mechanical things that made it work.
Okay.
Of course.
I have a better idea then. Uh, let me pull this over here so I can read it. Press the digitation. I can create instantaneously. I can create a non-magical trinket or an illusionary image that can fit in your hand, and it only lasts for a
And
turn.
it doesn't last long.
Um, I was gonna try to create like a card skimmer that I could put over where the lever is and have a fake lever. That'll only last for 6 seconds, so that's not a good enough trick. Um, is there a range to that? Yes, 10 feet. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know how to make a mundane trap.
We're only just looking to Argenta and Liliane and like,
You see, the problem with this is magic items are a pain to like break.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I could make something up with my alchemy
And
stuff.
the problem with like the problem with breaking a magic item is every time that we've done it, it has created something bad. You remember the portals. So I think we leave this one alone.
I
If
was
they
thinking,
run back here, they run back here. We at least know where they're going.
I was saying like, doesn't it take a lot to break a magical item?
Yes.
I think it'll hurt them more than it'll hurt the carriage.
I mean, I don't know that we need to hack the magical item in such a way as much as, like, if we can prevent the seal. Um, uh, okay, so we know that there are blinds that close, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, is there glass in front of those blinds?
No, it's
I
just cloth. It
I think
shouldn't seal anything out. It just magically does.
I think we're thinking a bit too hard about this object in particular. If they do run, we know where they're running.
The
Uh,
one thing, well,
Yeah.
if I could ask one question on this, they slide in. Is it an obvious groove?
Yeah, there's a track. Like the windows
Yeah,
themselves are just holes. They're just
yeah.
holes, and there's a track that has a thing that you can slide. It's two things that slide together and
Yeah, because
then click.
the curtains are like this, right?
Yep, they
Where
do that.
where they go down. Okay.
They go
It's like,
shook.
why don't we just simply just put something in each of the tracks?
Vala will pull out her pittance and just like on a couple of the blinds, try to like wedge the piton into the blind to create a physical stop.
Sure. Pythons are pretty big. So it'd be a little bit bigger than, because they have to be able to kind of hold your weight when you hammer them into the wall.
Yeah.
The track itself is very small, so using pythons themselves is not going. They're going to be a little bit too big to fit into the track, and if you try piercing it through the wood seems impervious to you piercing through it.
What about tent stakes?
Those are
Same
even
problem.
bigger.
How about caltrops?
Caltrops are very small. So if you wanted to use them to try and kind of gum up, you could probably wedge them in there. It would be obvious that they were there.
Wouldn't you just snip them and like snip the tips and then?
Yeah, if you have like wire cutters or something on you.
I don't know what people have for tools.
I have a leather worker's set. I might have something.
I have sheet music.
Well, if you've got something with just some rapier wit in there, maybe that'll be sharp enough to cut it off.
I'll take some of that crystallized fungus web and I'll just start like putting it in there so it's like trying to close it when there's like dirt and sand in the bottom of it and it kind of pops off the track sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Above board. Should I hit long rest?
Yeah, all you guys got a long rest.
Uh,
So if you guys want to kind of jam up the curtains, you can. It'll take you a better part of like 10, 15 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not an incredibly difficult thing, especially if you have something small like caltrops and stuff like that. You can find it.
Right.
Now, as far as how effective it's going to be, if you guys want to test it, what I will need from you guys is someone to choose even or odd.
Odd.
All right.
If that's the case, if I can add any weight to it, I mean, I have cooking. I'll pour molasses in that shit if I have to.
Okay. As you guys activate it,
This is like when 8-year-olds are in an SUV, just find all this shit. Just
yeah, it's like you have a little like sippy cup of like what used to be milk and now has turned into something alive, and so
Vinny, there's Cheerios and a Lego in here.
so as you push the lever, most of most of the curtains close with such force that they actually break everything in the channels. I say most. One of the windows, the one that's facing where you guys are currently, makes it most of the way closed, but due to the molasses and caltrops and other bits of sand and stuff like that, you have messed up the track enough that it's not able to close. And when that happens, all of the rest of them open again.
Hey, we found the wobbly wheel on the supermarket cart.
Yes. Okay.
So you
They
think,
couldn't
as
say-
of right now, it seems to be inoperable, but you're not sure. Because again, all the other ones close with an impressive amount of force. So if it's done enough, you're not sure if that's going to hold forever.
Whitney, it's not working.
Yes,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I also know just repeated action on a mechanical thing that's gummed and fucked up. That always works out when you just like go back and forth again and again.
But this is magic we're dealing with. This is arcade.
We have to call the wagon maintenance man.
I have to call the we have to call the dealership, and they're not open on Saturdays.
Yeah, and if you try to go somewhere, it voids the warranty, and that's a whole other thing. Like, a lot of places won't even work on carriages like this, because if they void the warranty, then they're liable for any damages. It's a nightmare. It really is. So, with that, unfortunately, that is going to be all we have for today. As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/JanerJody. As a quick reminder, thank you, More Cowbell and Toast. Thank you for the raids. Really appreciate everyone coming up. I stream D&D on Wednesday nights normally. However, starting the first Monday in December, I am going to be running a Metroid-themed campaign. We're going to be using an RPG system called Lancer, and it will be on Monday nights. So if anybody wants to see, it's only going to last for the month of December. We'll do a session 0 on, I think it's December 2nd, whatever the first Monday in December is. We'll play 4 episodes, and then it's over. So feel free to follow the channel if you want to be able to tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And if anyone shows up here during the last couple Wednesdays of this month, if you watch live, you can affect the show.
Yeah, my channel points, you can actually do things like give players advantage, cast beneficial spells on the party, stuff like that. Beneficial first level spells on the party. It's all in the, if you look at my channel points, it's all stuff in the channel points. So I like to have the audience be able to kind of interact with the show. And in some of my campaigns, the players have learned that if they beg the audience long enough, they just get free shit. So anyway, again, it's going to be all for me today. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.